has seen rising violence as the result of the conflict between the FPRC and a rival group, the UPC. The two factions have been fighting for control of taxes levied on Fulani herders during the current seasonal migration. Well, it seems we have Teddy Eugene back on the line with us. Teddy, thank you so much for joining us on Network Africa.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Teddy. Let's start with the ban on private media advertising. What more can you tell us about that?
Well, yes, indeed. There is a government directive from the office of the president which says that all accounting offices have been warned that if they place their advertisements in media, then they will be forced to pay for the cost from their own pockets. Now, what this means is that all the ministries and state departments, as well as all the agencies, have all been instructed to advertise a government. So the government just launched a new newspaper called my.gov, that's G-O-V, with a poster. Now, and of course, it was a directive from the office of the president, like I told you. And now, according to this memo, they're all being played by commercial newspapers and TV stations. It's a bit too exorbitant, if I can say, because now the government is arguing that the money that it's spending on advertising to private media is quite expensive, going to the tune of 2 billion Kenyan shillings. That's about $2 million.
Teddy, the ban is to save money, but for who, and how do you think it will affect the media organizations in the country?
Well, the media organizations in the country responding to that directive, of course, are actually wondering, and questions are being asked because newspapers, so to speak, account for the bulk of revenue. And when you parallel that trajectory, the advertising market in Kenya has been rising over the years, fivefold to be precise, in the past 5 years. So just looking at that directive, that means less money into the media houses. And what does it mean for the private media owners? It means running into losses at the end of the day. So their reaction is that these should be reversed if possible, because at the end of the day, if the government is really trying to cut down on advertising, it did really have to start with the media.
Well, before I let you go, Teddy. What's the situation like in Baringo County? We hear that hundreds of people have been forced to flee their homes, but the deputy president is promising that everything will be back to normal in 2 weeks. How possible is that?
Well, Victoria, when you're looking at how feasible that would be, I would say it's not something that we should have given a timeline, firstly, because the security situation in Baringo, and not just Baringo, it's Baringo North and Baringo South, is quite dire at the moment. Last week alone, by Friday, 8 people were killed. So what does it mean for that particular area? I don't see that really working out, but then following the directive that at least 381 officers have been deployed, then we're looking at a reduction in the rate of insecurity.
Well, Kenyan journalist Teddy Eugene, thank you so much for joining us on Network Africa. In other news, more than 5,000 Tanzanians and dozens of other foreigners have fled Mozambique amidst a government crackdown on what it calls illegal immigrants residing in the northern mining town of Montepuez. Migrant workers have been drawn to the town, which is 800 kilometers from the Tanzania border, to work in the mines thought to hold 40% of the world's known supply of rubies. 2 weeks ago, local authorities issued a 5-day ultimatum for all foreigners regarded as illegals to vacate the area. Those arriving at the border post at Kilamba village in Tanzania say the ongoing crackdown has been dominated by police brutality, alleging their property was stolen, passports destroyed, and even women been raped. Other nationalities affected are Somalis and Senegalese. Morocco says it is pulling out of a UN buffer zone in the disputed Western Sahara territory. The country in a statement says the former Spanish colony is part of its territory, while the Polisario Independent Movement wants a vote on its self-determination. Tension in the area flared up a year ago when Morocco moved into the buffer zone, breaching a UN-backed ceasefire. Morocco recently rejoined the African Union, which it had left over the body's recognition of Western Sahara. The move came after the Moroccan king spoke on the telephone with the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, who asked him to pull out his troops. Well, 3 years of civil war in South Sudan has driven thousands of families into the marshes of the Nile to hide from the fighting, and a famine has been declared in some parts of the country. In the rebel-held town of Tonyo in Lear County, people have been told to gather to get help. They emerged from the marshland of the Nile in their thousands as word spread that help had come. Forced by fighting to live on the isolated islands of the S.Sudan swamp, they have been surviving for months on wild plants.
Maybe sometimes the traders are using to give us food, and the price that they are given to us also, they are telling them us, you pay 185 for 1 kg only. Then when you bought 2 kg, you will pay 360, and they are not available for us.
Right here, what we have seen is a lot of people coming from islands and saying that they've not been eating well. They've been living on water lilies. They've been living on roots from reeds in the rivers. They at most they eat once a day. It's really tough conditions, and we hope that our regular and consistent humanitarian support in this area will be able to serve these people.
Let's take you over to Uganda, where Arsenal Football Club is seeking to help disadvantaged children in the country. This comes as football is regarded as a unifying factor among students in Uganda.
There are more than 30 children at Family of Hope Special Needs Education Center in eastern Uganda.
Children who are intellectual or mental retardedness. We have the physically disabled, we have the deaf, we have those with the sight problem.
Despite their challenges, these students take pride in sports. Football is one of the most unifying activities at this school. Even the children who are usually quiet in class can be found cheering their colleagues along.
Still to come on Network Africa, international donors pledged $672 million for the next 3 years to avert a famine in Africa's Lake Chad region. Please stay with us.